All right, welcome to Trader Minute. We're back. We're trying a new setting here and see how that works. If you have any problems or anything like that come up, just let us know through the chat there. Thanks for your patience. And I just did a quick run through our positions. TLT started the recording over here again, so I just run through them really quick. Up 41 cents, and then SLV down just 7. Remember, this gap down 30 cents this morning, so this is quite a comeback for SLV. And then XLE, pretty bearish looking candlestick we've got right here. So far today, it ran up on us quite a bit. It went up past the stop a little bit. We talked about this morning how we were going to make a decision based on the latter, about the last hour in the day, what we were going to do here. And so far, the action's looking good for more downside. And then AUI. And up 10 cents. This same, another big reversal throughout the morning. It went all the way down to about the $10 price point. Looking at this technically, it broke through a big level of resistance there, a big number like 10. Came back, retested the level today, bouncing up higher off of that level. Great looking technical setup for a lot more upside here. And we want this thing to run for us. The volumes right now, PW, it's about what we got, about 2.5 hours till the close, something like that. Volumes right now, they seem might be a little bit light, but towards the end of the day, the volumes have come in pretty good. So we'll watch that towards the close. Might be a little bit light right now, but the fact that you look back a little bit, it's the last few days, and you see the big volumes here. These big volumes, even though they might have been a day or two ago, can still affect the stock as it pushes higher. And yesterday's selling volume, what you look for is see if it broke any big key levels of support on some decent volume. And it didn't really break any big key levels of support. Pretty much held the open of yesterday throughout the day. So even though it had big volume, there wasn't any big support levels broken. So we'll watch where that volume is by the end of the day, but still bullish here on this one. Okay, good. Good to hear that the video and everything's looking good right now. And some of the stocks, again, like yesterday when I was going through, and AUI was down, and I was going through and looking at the scans that I look at every day, and there was all kinds of gold stocks and other gold ETFs and things like that were given bullish signals, which is a positive for our position here in Yamaha Gold. And still today, not as many as I saw yesterday, but all the gold stocks have had a nice turnaround, and that's very bullish for these positions. So some stocks I want to show you. RTN. So in my top 3 today, this is up there. RTN had a great earnings announcement yesterday. I mean, it beat the estimates. It had higher revenues. It raised the forecast, and it sold off. It sold off. But today, see what it did? It gapped a little bit on it, and it's running. And you see the volume? The volume's going to be pretty decent right here. The number for this to get through is 80. And you look at the other stocks in the group. So look at the Lockheed Martins. Rallying. In rally mode. Still in the upper Bollinger Band. And then... yeah, I will... thanks, Doug. I'll get on Walter here in just a second. Lockheed Martin, still in the upper band, looks good. And you look at Northrop, same thing. These things are on fire. The lacquer here, the slacker, I guess you'd call it, whatever you want to call it, has been RTN. And so today, with all the buying going on the other two, buyers are stepping in here to see a little bit of value because this hasn't risen as much as the others so far. It looks pretty promising here. This would be a TrendRider bull signal. Price target here, if it gets up through that 80 mark, you can see it hit a little bit while ago, gets up through that 80 mark, I'd put it a couple dollars higher than that. I'd go a couple dollars higher than that right now. I'm just looking to see if there's any type of particular pattern here. Not really. You could you could say that you've got a little bit of a rounded cupping action going on right here. We need a handle over here to confirm it, and really even a push above 80 would confirm anything at this point as well. But the volumes look good. The other stocks here are rallying. This looks positive for RTM. A trend rider bull signal on it. Let's look at Walter. Thanks, Doug. Walter got a little bit of a gap this morning. It's got some big volumes on it. Looks like it's going to push into the upper Bollinger Band, which would be a trend rider bull signal on here. What I'd want to see on this is it push up into the upper Bollinger Band and maybe close towards the highs today into that upper band like that, get above 16. 16's been the support level, the resistance level for that. Yeah, you could say you got a little bit of a ascending triangle pattern going on here. Very long and drawn out one, but that's what I'd look for. It's going to have the volumes. It's going to be pretty good volume by the end of the day today. I just want to see a strong push into the close of the day and close at least at the highs or even a little bit above these highs would be the candle that I'd like to see for this thing to run higher. The next level for it, there's going to be a little bit of resistance here at 17. And the next one after that is probably 19 would be the next biggest level for Walter. But if you're in the trade, as far as bearish, need to get out, I wouldn't get out yet. It still looks more bullish than bearish to me, and it's still trading above the 7. Yeah, Walter, it can move, has its own mind from time to time. Right now, still looks a little bit bullish. You can see the highs just tend to get a little bit higher, a little bit higher. Just need that breakout there above 16. Let's go take a look at Tesla. Okay, so Tesla dropped below the 7, dropped below that 170 mark, which had been prior resistance here, first part of October. 170 was, I keep getting those wrong. Keep that good support level there at the 170 mark. Broke through it, came back up, retested it. Even really, basically what we're retesting there is a 7-day moving average, and is now pushing back down off of it. If this closes back below the 170 mark, pushing off the 7 like that, would be very bearish for it. We'll see where these volumes come in by the end of the day. We got quite a while left, over 2 hours now, so we'll see where they come in. Right now, looks like it'll be a little bit light, but this is still a bearish looking chart to me. More confirmation would be a pushback below that 170 mark, and you get some decent volumes like a couple days ago, the last few days. Breaking below 170 would be very bearish, and a move into that lower Bollinger Band would confirm a trend rider bear signal, likely to take it down near into the 140 range. Be a pretty big drop. Yeah, the valuations here are in the double digits, and this stock's trading in triple digits. Okay. All right, XLP. This is consumer staples spider. And it's been in rally mode here. Hit 42s, pulled back a little bit. Not surprising when you see it get away from the 7 like that. Not surprising to see a little bit of consolidation. Prior level of resistance was right here at 41.5. For it to hold up in this range somewhere, 41.75, or even where it's at, and start to push back up above 42, would be very bullish action on it. If you're in a trade, wondering if you should get out, and you're long, I wouldn't get out. If it broke through 41.75, I'd probably get out. But right here and now, technically there's nothing real bearish that's saying exit immediately on this chart. Volumes are really light, more so than the other stocks we've been looking at right now. Even if they double by the close, it's still going to be light volume. And so this little bit of selling right here, nothing to worry about. In fact, it's more bullish in nature than anything. It may come down here, kiss that 7, and if it pushes back up off of it, very bullish. The stock's probably headed a lot higher. And a lot of the stocks in here are moving, right? We looked at some of the charts here recently. Look at like a Johnson & Johnson. Well, they're down today. Look at that run right there, though. Um, Hershey, not Hay. I got my fingers on the wrong buttons. Hershey, a little bit of a pullback, very strong candle yesterday. See that candle there? That is a very long dragonfly doji. And then same thing today, gaps down, runs higher. These are bullish patterns when you see that. 97 is a level for it to break. You look at Colgate Palmolive. Yesterday had a nice little reversal candle there. Gaps down, runs up into the close, back above the 7 today, getting some follow through on it. And look at the volume, it's going to be quite high by the end of this day, probably very close to what we saw a couple days ago. And you see that looks like big selling volume, but you look at the candle there, it wasn't. Gaps down, runs down, and turns around and went positive. There's all kinds of buying going on in this heavy volume right there, confirming a good level of support there at 62.5. Locking that in. This stock's likely to run higher. I like that setup there. Not basically you ride this with the 7, right, with a 7-day moving average. That'd be a pretty tight stop on it. Price target for this would be, I'd go a couple dollars higher. When stocks break like this, and it might not be as steep as a move as we've seen here recently, but these things really fly. Okay, and then you look at Clorox. It's had the same move. Some of the others just these big steep uptrends. A little bit of selling today, a little bit of gravestone doji action. It's not perfect, but it has the same principles. Really, after that type of a move, it's bound to get some profit taking. No surprise to see it. Just watch and see where this next round of selling takes it. If it takes it down to 88 and bounces higher off of that, that would probably be your entrance. Let that 7 catch up a little bit. It's about $1 away from the 7 right now. Let that consolidate back to it and look for it to push higher. But let's be it on that one. All right, let's St. Jude. Talked about this one. Trying to push above 57 today. Okay. Good job, Robert. With St. Jude, tried to push above 57. It's been as high as 57.36. A push through 57 would be a pretty bullish sign for it. It's got a ascending triangle pattern, which are bullish, and the volume's going to be probably average today. It might get up to that 50-day average volume line, the green one I got in there. It might get up to that. Now let me show you something. We got this new system, and the other system was a little bit hard to use this program that I'm going to turn on right now. It's just a simple drawing program that I've used for years. It's going to take me a little bit of time to get back into it, but watch what I can do here. I can zoom in on these charts so it's much quicker. I can draw on the charts. I can point out things. I can draw little lines, support and resistance lines. This is just a simple program. I can draw on it or a lot of different things. So I'm going to start using this more often because it seems to function fine with our new program here. Before, for some reason, it would kind of mess up the other program that we were using, but this broadcast system here, it seems to work fine. So you'll get me to see. I got to get back into the swing of that because I've used it for years as I've been in other areas. It's phenomenal. I don't have to go off and use annotation. I can come right here and draw on it, trend lines. I mean, all kinds of things. I can type. I can do a lot of different things with it. So, and I can zoom in on the charts. I've been on the other side of. I've watched it on the other side coming out, and it's a lot of times it's good to get a real close peek at that. And this has a little zooming capability. That's pretty nice, and so we can get close. I just got to get in the habit of that again. So it's coming. All right, St. Jude, you can see it's got some contracting bands here. A lot of times stocks will have a tough time breaking out when you see that, but It might go sideways here a few more days, but still, the longer it stays up, pushing up against 57, the more chance that door is going to get opened, and this thing is going to run higher. And the tighter the bands get, the longer it consolidates like this in a sideways mode, typically the stronger those breakouts are going to become. So still watching this one. It's not there yet, but still on the list. One of the stocks I found today, Apache. All right, so this one, prior resistance was right here, just above 88. Okay, it came through early here in the month, broke that level. You can see what it did, came back and retested that level. It's about $88.50, $89 range right through there. In fact, now that I'm getting in the habit of this again, let me just show you where that range is with my little drawing tool. The range would be right there. Range would be right here. So there's past resistance. Broke it, came back and retested the level right here. Now it's bouncing higher. So what you want to see here is this stock to break 90. The volumes have been pretty light on this, and so that's what I need for some confirmation that this thing's going to get through 90. 90 is one of those big numbers. For this to get through 90, it's going to take a little bit heavier volume. So that's what it's going to need to get through. We've seen a lot of stocks just rally on light volumes, but to me, I'd need some little bit more heavier volume to confirm that that's going to break there. All right, let's go take a look at Lose. Okay, a little bit lighter volume stock. I've never traded this one before, but prior resistance is right here at 48.5. First part of October here. Broke through it. We're retesting the level. To get bullish on this PW, I need this to get back above that 7. Right now it's about 50 cents underneath it. To get bullish, I'd want to see it. So you see there's a gravestone doji there. Now remember, gravestones are most accurate when they're at a top. A little bit of a top where they're most accurate. Here it's at the bottom. They can act just like the opposite of this, which is a dragonfly down toward the bottom. So this might get a bounce here. See how light the volumes are? Really, really light volumes on just some little days here. All right, so a push back above the 7 is what you'd be looking for an entry here, for a bullish entry right here. And that gravestone there, remember, it's a reversal candle. It's most commonly found towards the top, suggesting more downside, but it can be found along the bottom, and that suggests more, upside. Okay, so that's what I'd be looking for. On this one. And let's go look at joy. It's been full of joy recently. This thing just wants to keep going. Just a big time breakout and just in rally mode. Really at the rate it's going, 60, 61. It's on big volumes. It just taken off. Let's look at Deere. Deere's down today, down 1%. Caterpillar, remember this morning they got an upgrade. It gapped up. It's up 10 cents. Sorry, gapped down a little bit. Down 10 cents. It's come back, but this had the big bad earnings announcement. It had announced a company buyback, and we figured that's probably what all yesterday's buying was about. And so no trade here. This one, it's just too far. Is it going to fill the gap? Who knows at this point. The technicals are off for a little while. They're going to take a breather until probably mid next week until you get a better read on this. Go look at Pepsi. Pepsi's another stock we've been watching. Pretty bullish move. It gapped down below, ran down below the 7 yesterday on some pretty stiff volume. But notice what it did. It held on to 82.5, which has been pretty decent level. of support for it. Let me, I know there's a setting to bold this line here that I'm drawing, but I'm not going to try to find it while I'm on air here with you. But there's been the resistance level. See how many times it hit it over here, hit it right here. It's $83. So it broke through that level yesterday. Some pretty big volumes. Broke through the 7. Today's pushing back up, but look at this volume a little bit. The volume's down here pretty light. I don't think that's going to anywhere near where it was yesterday. Instead, unless for some reason you get some big time buying coming in towards the close. But I'd be a little bit afraid of more upside here because of that extremely light volume. Okay, now when I look at Pepsi, gotta look at Coke. Same thing, really light volumes today. It's up on a little bit of level of resistance right here at 39. Trying to push up off it, kind of a spinning doji candle pattern today. Don't see any type of an entrance on that. Hang on just for a second. Thanks. All right. Another one I want to take a look at over there in consumers is Kellogg's. Kellogg's been running up. A little bit of a pullback yesterday. This morning came back to the 7, pushing higher. There's that plague of the light volume a little bit here today. Be surprised if it hit yesterday's or the day before. It might hit yesterday's, but maybe not the day before's, unless you get some big buying right towards the close. But I don't know if we're going to see that on a Friday. All right. So far today, what I've noticed, just not a lot of signals out there. There's bullish signals out there. A lot of them coming from the gold area, which is we're already in. I do like this action here on AT&T. Very strong action, but look at the volume here. There's that volume again. That's a great looking setup right there. Let me compare this with Verizon. Now this is not the Verizon, not as strong as T. Just looking at these two, you don't have the big bullish follow through so far today like you're seeing out of AT&T. I like that setup there. It's again, the only thing that concerns me is the volume. The last little while, in some of these stocks, there's been a surge in volume towards the end of the day. If that comes in and you get maybe a day like yesterday or something more up in that range, this could set up pretty good. What you'd want to do is put the 7 as your stop. Now again, this wouldn't be any type of a trend rider or a vibe. Let me bring in the vibe template here. It's definitely not a trend rider. Way too wide. So, well, look at that. Okay, so let me show you what I'm looking at. So this is a vibe entry right here. Let me show you exactly what I'm looking at. I can zoom in on that. And let me draw on this and show you what I'm seeing here. So whenever you're looking for a vibe entrance, you're looking at your averages. The 100, the 200, and the 50-day average, you want them all going the same direction. And you notice what just happened here, they're all going the same direction, which is very positive. So today's action here would trigger a vibe bull entry. Again, the only thing is just that volume. It's a little bit light, but I'm going to watch this into the close today. With us having 4 positions, unless we exit one, probably not going to enter another trade. I'm going to be talking with with Jeff here by the close, see what we're going to do within that last hour of the day. But that's not a bad looking setup. I'd use the 7 as your stop. And with vibe trades, and I mentioned this to Chad a little bit, with vibe trades, what you're looking at here is typically you're going to use that 7. You could also say that, and then let me show you here. See this, you could call this a bullish double bottom. And the area for this to break is what it held yesterday. In fact, at a higher level than yesterday, that would confirm a double bottom, a bullish double bottom. Let me look at the MACD. MACD's in an uptrend. I'm not concerned about that MACD. Let me show you why. Let me zoom in on that. Is this zooming in on this? Does that make it so you guys can see this much clearer? Does that help? Just let me know. Pretty sure it does. So look at the MACD, and what I'm looking at here is that MACD's uptrending. At this point, even if I get a bearish cross, I'm not too worried about it. And you notice bearish crosses. Great, Datum, thanks. Bearish crosses on a MACD when a stock's uptrending. I don't when it's starting to uptrend, I don't run out and try to get bearish on it. You got to see where the next round of buying comes in. So the first round of selling came in on a stock that tried to run up. What happened with the first round of selling? Well, it ended up with a higher low. Here's the past low. Here's the next low. So now we got a higher low going here. Comes back up. Is this the next higher low? That's the question. And what a vibe bull entry helps signal are these higher lows. And when you've got this in that type of a position where you got all three of the major averages pointing the same direction now, this could signal a higher low. Okay, excellent. I'm starting to get the swing again with this drawing. It's coming. I used to be in a habit of using it when I first started here, and I couldn't use it anymore. I was trying to point things out, and I just trying to explain them all. But I'm glad we got this back and up and running with a new program. It's fantastic. And hats off to our support team and the guys that put all this together. It's just awesome. All right, another stock that I want to show you today, and remember the fun one to say, Schmuckers. Schmuckers. Let's look at this chart. All right, so you could look at this, yeah, double bottom on a little bit of a downtrend. There's a lot of ways that you can look at this chart. You can say that for the 109 area to break, confirm a little bit of a double bottom pattern here. Say that. You can also look at this as close to a vibe bull entry, but you notice the 50-day just kind of going flat right there. But if I bring in the trend rider, kind of changes the perspective a little bit, doesn't it? Let me zoom in on that. So with the trend rider, okay, I'll keep that in mind. I'm looking up. I gotcha. Okay, I need to make this screen a little bit bigger when I zoom in like this. Thanks for the feedback, PW. I know what you're talking about because when I zoom, it takes it out of the field that I have for this to show. Yeah, so right now you're not seeing me off here on that right hand side, but let me back out and I'll show you this way. But when you bring in the trend rider setup, you notice it looks a little bit different because it's been above the 7. You had a nice little entry right over here on this candlestick right there, where you get it breaks back down below the 107, and the 7-day moving average, not below 107, but the 7-day moving average pushes back up on, notice the volume here, on that strong volume right there, pushes up like that. That's the entrance right there. This is very similar, and I'm not saying this is the exact same thing's going to happen with AT&T, but this is almost the same thing. We're just lacking that volume today. But from a chart standpoint, what you see here, very similar to AT&T, right? Because it ran down a little bit, pushing up today, breaking up through the 7, a big, strong candlestick like that. Just that volume that we're lacking. Pushing up through 109, very bullish. If you're looking at the pattern, the price pattern here, the chart pattern, the double bottom. Hitting 110, is there much resistance around 110? Now, last time it went through 110, it just flew through that level. And on the way back down, it flew through that level. Not a bunch of resistance there at 1010. With the move from 107 to 1010, possibly higher, if you look at the price pattern here, you take the area of, let me change this color for you. So if I change the area, take the area of the pattern itself, so I'm just going to call it 105. It did get a little bit lower, but you take the $4 there. You take the $4 there, you could put this up into the 113 range, which is about very close over here to past resistance. Okay. Jay, not at the moment. Not at the moment. We've got 4 positions right now. We feel good about where we're at, the areas that we're at right now. Oh, okay. Jay's not on video. Oops, hang on just for a second. Sorry. Okay. But I like to set up here and look at this. Look what it's doing. Let me show you what it's doing. I'm not going to zoom in. I'm going to take that into account, and next time we'll with our new capabilities here. Notice what it's doing, and notice the volume. Light volume, and it's going. It's rallying. This has been the theme almost all year long. When this big nice rally started, that's what everybody was saying. Hey, it's the volume. The market's rallying on light volume, and I heard that for a month. And did the market stop? No, it's just been a freight train ever since. And you don't want to step in front of a freight train right now. To me, that's what gives me all kinds of confirmation. Now, there is one little bit of confirmation here that would have helped make this a little bit nicer, is that big shot of volume right there initially. Even if you got light volume, that the day you're making the trade, maybe even the prior day, lighter volume, if you got a big shot of volume when it started the trend, a lot of times that can help it follow through to higher price points. Okay, so I like Schmuckers. The break here, I wouldn't be surprised if it does consolidate a little bit around the 110, maybe retest 109 a little bit. If you get something like that, you could even call it a cup with handle. There's so many things you can look at with these charts, but the bullish action still remains here. I see it going. Okay, and remember, I'm going to go back to AT&T. Hang on, let me run back. I just saw your question there, Matt. A stop of 109. Yeah, 109. 109. The 7's probably going to catch that level pretty soon. If you use a stop of 109, price target would be right around the 113 area. Stop here. If it starts pushing up higher, then just ride the 7. Initially put at 109, then after that just ride the 7 if it continues to go. Again, I wouldn't be surprised to see it consolidate here, and after the 4 days up big like that, to see it gather and consolidate a little bit to that back to the 7 there and make another push higher. But everything right now looks very positive for it. AT&T. So back here, and notice what we saw with Schmuckers. Okay, very similar thing. It drops like that, and you get a big push out like this, and that started 3 days in a row for rally. I'm not saying that's going to happen here, because you can't look at one chart and look at a little bit of price action and say, oh, it's going to happen over here. It's not that simple, unfortunately. Okay, but had the bullish double bottom confirming today. It looks to confirm a higher level of support. The lighter volume's the only thing, but I couldn't argue an entrance here. I'd watch this into the close today. Right now it's up to near the highs. I'd watch into the close. Basically use the 7-day average as your stop. That'd be fairly tight. Right now, that'd be too tight. Right now we're trading at 35.18. So I'd probably use today's low which is basically the opening as your stop. Now, if it continues to run, then use the 7 eventually. And that's what I like to do with stocks. I'll set an initial stop. So right down here with 17, I mean the 7-day average is 18 cents away practically, 18, 20 cents away. Then you got to go a little bit further out than that because it could pick that off this afternoon if it pulled back. I'd watch into the close, but I'd put a stop down at today's open. And then if it starts to run on you, then move it up to the 7. And just ride it with the 7. But that's really bullish looking action here. You know, the RSI's trending up. It's got a lot of things going for it. And if you look at this, so it's not a trend rider entrance because it's got to be pushing the upper band, but you can see it's a vibe entrance, how I drew all that up for you a minute ago. I like that for a vibe trade. All right, now this morning I brought up CLF, and if you're one of the older timers here, you remember when he played a big gap over here in April and did very well on it on a what we call an educated gamble, which paid off. I won't get into all that strategy with you, but today they announced earnings, right? They missed by 6 cents, but they did see higher iron ore prices and lower costs, and that's why the stock's rallying. Up big today. And it's got some big volumes. This isn't earnings. You know, past resistance right there at 20, I'd say 24.50. See, it looks like it got above it over here, but remember it closed at the bottom of these candles right here. So 24.50 would be the level, pushing up through it. I'd wait for it to settle down as always on earnings for me. All right, let's look at Goodyear Tire. It's another stock we've been looking at. It's not pushing up today. All right, Baidu. Coming back to the 160 mark and the 7. So if you're in it, technically it's not doing anything today, but coming back, retesting 160, retesting the 7 to see if they're going to hold. If it bounces here up of 160 at this point, to me, it'd be a very bullish sign that it's going to go higher. So that might happen first part of next week. Have to keep an eye on Baidu. And then Kihu. Now this is pulling back today. Down 4.5%, down $4. Have to look into that. The volumes aren't, it's going to be pretty big by the end of the day today. Have to look into that and see if anything happened there. Yeah, these are now, I didn't look at Netflix today. What's Netflix doing? Just nothing. It's gapped down and pretty much stayed exactly where it's at. So it's going to be one of those trades right now with Netflix. You know, the overall trend is still intact. Just looking at this, the 320 mark is going to be key for it. If it breaks through 320, then it's likely to go to 300. At least down to that 50-day average. You can see it hit it over here. The 50 has been fairly decent support for it along the way. So break down below 320, push it down a little bit lower. Okay. Southern Company. Had a gravestone doji, very close to a gravestone doji pattern a couple days ago. Did push lower yesterday. Now it's running back up today. And notice the volumes down there. The volumes quite light, extremely light. Even if it doubles by the end of the day, it's still going to be feather light volume today. I'm not trusting that move up on this feather light volume here. I do like the fact that it broke up through 42 and it's bouncing up off of it, pushing up through the 7. The light volume really scares me. But, with the volume, it might just rally, and that's the thing. With that, don't know. You could call it a rounded bottom here. Look for a little bit of a 42.5 would be the level for it to break to get ultra bullish on it. By puts with the stop of the high. I'd want this to close back below the 7 or get a pretty bearish looking candle in here before I'd go short on it. That's what I'd see here. If it does break down through the 42 mark, or even if it rallies, I mean, falls, drops into the close to give a gravestone looking doji, something like that, to where it falls back below the 7, then I'd do it. But I like a little bit of confirmation because, again, the light volume has been kind of scary, but we've also seen stocks just rally off it. IYR today, going up on light volume. Like everything else, it seems like pushing higher. The level here is 69. This might go up into the $69 range. There's not a lot of resistance here at 68. It's more like 69. Yeah, last couple of days, just light volume on it. As far as an entrance, nothing just triggering to run out and buy me on that. It is bullish. Go look at the market really fast. Yeah, still same thing, just up 4. A close here, it'd put it really close. Yeah, likely a record high if it closes here, which would one, two. How many record highs have we set here in the last week and a half? 1, 2, 3, 4. This would be the 5th one in a week and a half. Just a couple days where it didn't set a record high, basically. Okay, I want to look at one more. Not that one. U.S. Steel. Yeah, still battling that 7. Tried to get up to it yesterday, barely poked its head over it. Today, selling back off just below it. It's just kind of a battle in here. I'd like a nice push here up off the 2350 mark to get ultra bullish on it. And if it breaks up through that level on some decent volumes, then the rally is going to continue. Right now, it's just consolidating. Nothing really bearish here. Just some consolidation. Here's Southwest Airlines. I know I said last one, but I have this habit. I just want to keep going. You can see I love to look through charts. Yeah, just in rally mode. Is it going to continue? Toss a coin. To me, past history, before I learned better, this thing's been up how many days in a row? It's basically gone up about from 15 to 17 with like hardly any pullbacks at all. There's bound to be a little round of profit taking up in this range somewhere. Where that is, your guess is as good as mine. But I wouldn't enter anything here. But just a great looking chart. All right, I want to run through the positions really quick, and then I'll let you go. TLT is up 35 cents. It's been up a little bit, but it's been holding out right around the 30 to 40 cent range all morning up for us. Okay, and then AUI up 8 cents, had that big turnaround, still looks good. SLV, another big turnaround, just down 13 cents, still looks good. And then XLE, slightly positive, and it's up 41 cents. Again, technically nothing overwhelming right here. We're going to keep a close eye on it into the close today, and we'll let you know if we take any action. But right now, I'm not concerned with the positions. We've seen pullbacks the right direction on all of our trades so far today. So we're going to let this day play out. I'll be back on again in about another hour. I'll be back on. So if you have any questions, I'll be on chat. Just let me know. And you can reach me through email as well. Okay. Have a great afternoon. We'll talk to you in about an hour. Thanks. Bye-bye.